And time for business news now with Ari Rabinovitch. Hello, Ari.
Cynthia.
Okay, we are expecting some big news from the Bank of Canada tomorrow. A lot of people with big mortgages are waiting for that.
And it's looking like it's probably going to be the news that most people are anxious for, Cynthia, and that's going to be another interest rate cut. Now, it's not guaranteed, but analysts are expecting it to be a cut by a probability of about 90%. So at this point, it's pretty safe to say that it's going to happen tomorrow morning at 9:45, shortly after Bay Street opens, and there will be a press conference to follow. And with this, it will likely be a drop of 25 basis points, 0.25%. That would make the overnight lending rate at 4.5%. That's the amount that lenders like banks build their mortgage rates on top of. So that's kind of what we're going to be expecting. Those with variable rate mortgages, that means that your monthly expenses will be coming down. And this is all after the latest reports on the economy, inflation, the labor market, as well as retail sales came in cooler than expected. Now, it's something to keep in mind, Cynthia, that is that the Bank of Canada will have to keep in mind is our neighbors to the south, because we are doing this at a faster rate than the U.S. Federal Reserve, and there's the risk that our loonie could diverge from the U.S. dollar if our rates come down too quickly. So they're going to be keeping an eye on what happens in the U.S. when they start to lower interest rates.
Interesting. And again, as we discussed yesterday, it doesn't mean people are going to get a massive break. I mean, these are just incremental lowerings, aren't they?
Exactly. It's something that will be felt in the coming months. It takes a while for it to trickle down into people's pocketbooks, especially with their monthly mortgage fees, but it's only really good news at this point that we have to celebrate, even if it's just little baby steps.
Little baby steps. Okay. Now we're getting major earnings reports out today, Ari. Let's start with one of Elon Musk's companies.
And the one that a lot of eyes are on, especially from an investor's point of view. So Tesla showed its cards just after markets closed today, and it was somewhat good news. Now, keeping in mind, electric vehicle sales are down all over the world. A lot of that has to do with the cost of them compared to gas-powered vehicles. If you were given the option saying, oh, I want an electric vehicle, but I only have so much to spend, it's going to be a lot easier to consider maybe a hybrid vehicle or something of that nature. So because Tesla only sells electric vehicles, they've really been feeling it. So in the last quarter, revenue was actually slightly higher than what Wall Street was expecting, given that environment, but also profits ended up falling behind analyst estimates. Plus, Tesla says for the full year, the volume of sales growth will be lower than last year's, without providing any specific numbers, because I'm assuming they still aren't really sure what the future holds, Cynthia. But
right.
Also worth noting with the election coming up that CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk, is actually stepping back from his earlier reports that he would be donating a lot of money to Donald Trump's campaign for president, saying that he is donating to his established PAC, but that will support political campaigns, kind of dancing around the idea, sort of taking a step back from the association with Trump, it seems, even though he has been vocally in support of him in the past.
Which hasn't always gone well with car buyers.
No, absolutely. And, you know, it's hard for Elon Musk to try to stay in one lane these days.
Definitely. Okay, Google, its parent company, is also giving us a financial snapshot tonight.
Yeah, so we got those results as well after the bell, Cynthia, and the parent company of Google had a pretty good report. They beat on earnings for both profit, and revenue was also higher than analyst estimates. What did fall behind, though, was advertising, specifically on YouTube. Although it is still a pretty strong quarter, it fell behind what most analysts were expecting. That may be more of another broad market kind of theme here, that in advertising overall is starting to, well, pull back with budgets lower these days. But Google's cloud revenues, that was a slight beat on estimates, and that's actually what's helping to lift the stock in after-hours trading, because there's a lot of has to do with artificial intelligence and Google's cloud. And as you know, Cynthia, we've been discussing it so much these days.
Yes.
Anything with artificial intelligence attached to it, that's what investors are going to be looking for. So good news on that front. Google stock is in the green right now.
Okay, Ari Rabinovitch, as always, great to see you. Thank you.
You as well.